I think everybody kind of knows the basics on you should wear sunscreen. Is
Yeah.
there anything, any new information you can give us about sun safety that maybe is less known on how to stay safe in the sun this summer?
Some of the tips that I give patients that involved reiterating is that while people do wear sunscreen, they often miss certain spots, like the tip of their nose, like their ears. I often see people that will apply everywhere except there. And then this can be problematic in the future because those are areas where people can develop skin cancers. And those skin cancers sometimes are a little more of a challenge to treat.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you're a dermatologist. Where do you see where on the body do you see the most skin cancer cases?
On the head and neck
Mm,
and on the arms.
like right
Great.
in there?
They also can appear on the scalp as well. You happen to have a healthy head of hair, and so that does offer some protection. But that some men in particular that have a lot of balding on the top of their head um, and then don't engage in sun safety, they can get a lot of skin cancers on their scalp, and it's no fun.
What about different skin tones? Is anybody more susceptible to skin cancer than someone else?
There's a lot of controversy in this space. So, a few things that are facts. One is that skin cancer is much less common in people that have darker skin types. And that's by many orders of magnitude. Number two is that anyone can develop skin cancer no matter what skin type that they have. People like me that have darker skin just get it at lower rates. Also, skin cancer in lighter skin types usually is associated with sun exposure. It is not the case in people that have darker skin types. So, this idea that people of darker skin types should use sunscreen because it's going to prevent skin cancer, that is erroneous. It's misinformation. It's not based in fact.
Interesting. This is new information for me. I thought I knew all the facts here, but this is new. So, how else do you get skin cancer if not from the sun?
Well, some people get it randomly. It just kind of, happens. Some people get it as a result of wounds that don't heal. Some skin cancers can develop as a result of trauma as well.
Yeah, take me through some of these myths that people
Some
may be surprised to hear.
Yeah, it's, one major myth that gets perpetuated even by dermatologists has to do with the difference between physical sunscreen, or also called mineral sunscreen, and chemical sunscreen. People like to say that physical or mineral sunscreen works by reflecting light. That's actually not true. Most of the value, or most of the action of physical sunscreen, is actually absorbing light, or UV, just like with chemical sunscreen. Maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 5%, a low percentage of the activity of physical sunscreen is reflection. And I would also say another myth is that physical sunscreens are better than chemical sunscreens. That is also not true. Both can provide broad spectrum coverage. And in some cases, chemical sunscreen can actually afford better protection as well. But what I tell people is the focus should be on the SPF. Make sure it's 30 or above. That is the most important thing that they should look for. And second, after that, is a sunscreen that they're willing to put on and reapply. Because a sunscreen that sits in your bottle because you don't want to wear it because it feels weird is useless for sun protection.
Mineral, non-mineral, it kind of comes down to preference. What about sprays? Are they as effective? I always feel like they're not doing as good of a job.
Yeah, so they've done studies comparing sprays, sticks, lotions, etc. If you apply it correctly, they all provide the same amount of protection. The problem is, in the wild, people use sprays as if it's cologne, and they just kind of spritz it around and think that they're going to get protection.
There's
Um,
windy days at the beach too, where people spraying it. It's just
yeah.
kind of shooting off
Oh
in
my
that
goodness.
direction.
But I mean, if you correctly apply it and say you really put on a thick layer and, spray the bottle a couple of inches from the skin and lather it on, that too can be effective.
One other thing I want to ask you about that I've always been curious about. I know getting vitamin D is very important for our overall health,
Hmm.
and that sunscreen is preventing that. So,
Yeah.
how do you weigh the benefits here of needing vitamin D, but then also needing to avoid skin cancer?
Yeah. So there's a couple of schools of thought here. One school of thought that is that you should get your vitamin D from supplementation through food, right? And avoid some of the potential risks of too much sun exposure. That's one possibility. The other is just to safely be outside for 10-15 minutes and get the adequate amount that you need.
Okay, and then last question. I know AI is being used for everything now. How is AI being used in skin cancer diagnosis?
Yeah, so there's a lot of hype around AI in healthcare, and AI seems like it would be very suitable in helping people identify what's a cancer and not a skin cancer, right? And there's been a proliferation of all these apps, right, that have made claims about their ability to do that. But none of them have been FDA approved. And actually, the algorithms on which they were developed are one biased, so they don't have representative samples across different skin types, particularly for darker skin. And I would also say is none of them have actually proven in the real world that they help people, right? So I would caution people from using apps as currently designed right now for the diagnosis of skin cancer.